So thank you, Dr. Xin, for the great presentation, and good morning, everyone. So again, thank you very much for joining today's workshop. So my name is Zhang. I'm from OJT Office of Bioequivalence, Division 3. So the topic I would like to share today is request for reconsideration and GDUFA 3 overview and experience from a bioequivalence perspective. I think there might be some overlap from Dr. Xin's talk earlier. However, here I'm trying to give you an overview, regarding like how OB review the RFR request from a B perspective. So these are the learning objectives. Hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll be able to define what is a RFR request for reconsideration, and also understand FDA's process for reviewing and responding to a RFR, including like our current perspective and experience when OB reviewing a RFR. So this is my disclaimer. So firstly, let's look at what is an RFR and why it is needed. So as outlined in FDA guidance, RFR at divisional level, so RFR refers to a procedure between FDA and ANDA applicants to resolve the scientific and regulatory issue or matters. So also as per GDUFA 3 commitment letter, so the applicant may pursue a request for reconsideration within assessment discipline at divisional level or original signatory authority as needed. So actually last year, so 2 FDA guidance were revised and published related to RFR. So the first guidance is ANDA submission amendment to Abbreviated New Drug Application and GDUFA, which is finalized in September last year. The next one is request for is RFR at divisional level. So this one is finalized in October last year. So for the first guidance, RFR at divisional level, it was initially published back in 2017, GDUFA 2, and now the current version is to reflect the GDUFA 3 updates. So in this guidance, provide some recommendations to ANDA applicants when and how to pursue a RFR within the review discipline. So other information provided in this guidance, including what is appropriate matter for RFR, and also what is FDA's timeline and procedures for reviewing and responding to RFR. The other guidance revised last year was the ANDA amendment submission guidance, and in this guidance, there's a section regarding RFR of major amendment classification. So some other information discussed in this guidance, including like how to classify the ANDA amendment as major or minor, and also the corresponding assessment goal days and the GDUFA 3. So in this guidance, a potential major B deficiency also provided from across different review disciplines. So now, I will give you a brief introduction, like the process for reviewing and responding RFR. So as Dr. Xin explained earlier, so when a RFR is filed to FDA, so this RFR will be triaged or assigned to our RPM first, and RPM will conduct an initial assessment, like how whether it is acceptable or not acceptable for further review by FDA. So the review discipline will be consulted at this stage. It depends on the nature of the questions. So next, so if this RFR is considered acceptable or not acceptable, then a letter will be issued, and applicant will be informed for the reasons why it is not acceptable. However, if this RFR is considered acceptable for further review, then it will be triaged to the review discipline. For example, if the question is related to BE issue or B deficiencies, then then Office of Bioequivalence will review and determine whether this request can be granted or denied. So in general, under GDUFA 3, FDA will provide final grant deny decision letter in 30 days. So in these slides, I would show you the information of RFR complete by Office of Bioequivalence. The survey data was collected based on the fiscal years from 2017 to 2024 for GDUFA 2 and GDUFA 3 so far. So you can see the total number of RFR reviewed by OB per year, very high volume at the beginning of this program, and then gradually decreased. Now it's pretty stable around 20 to 30 applications per year reviewed by OB. So based on the breakdown data of subcategory accept versus not acceptable or grant versus deny, so most of the RFR request has been accepted by reviewed by OB. And also, if you look at the ratio of grant to deny, so it kind of change year by year. So here in this slides, I would like to show you the accumulated data for the RFR review by OB from the past 7 years. So the totally 235 requests have been triaged and reviewed by OB. So for 33% of the request, the applicant request has been granted, but 60% of them were denied by OB. So if you look at the appeal reasons, so most of the reasons for the RFR request are the reclassification requests from major to minor, which account for 96% of the RFR. Yes, the subcategory. The subcategory for the reclassifications, including like reclassification of major CRL or reclassification of a major amendment. And OB also received some requests to reconsider B deficiencies and other reasons, for example, downgrade the T code from A to B. So this slide is a little bit busier. As I mentioned, like major RFR review by OB are reclassification requests from major to minor for either major CRL or major amendment. So for this reason, I list here the potential major B deficiencies, which were outlined in AND's amendment submission guidance. So I'm not going to read one by one for this list. But one thing I would like to highlight here, so this is just an example and non-exhaustive list. So there could be some other deficiencies also considered as major, and even they are not in this list. So also the determination of the major or minor deficiency will be the judgment of the review assessment discipline. So in general, if a RFR classification will advise the applicant, the RFR classification will advise whether a CRL response is classified as major or minor. However, FDA may change its the classification of CRL response based on the content of the amendment. So next, I will introduce you some case studies and to help you understand what is the expectation from when OB review this RFR request. So the first case is the RFR request reclassification of CRL deficiency from major to minor. So based on our original assessment, so the CRL deficiency was classified as major due to a failed in vitro B study. And a new B study was requested, and in the RFR response, the applicant, they actually reconducted the data analysis using a different approach, and also claimed the original study is still adequate. For this reason, so the original deficiency should be classified as minor, not major. However, based on OB's assessment, this RFR is not considered acceptable because the reanalysis of the previous submit data is considered as new information. So for this reason, we recommend the applicant to submit the new information as a CRL amendment. So the key consideration from this case is applicants should not submit new information as part of RFR because FDA's decision must be based on the same information that was used to make the original decision. Also, FDA consider new information, a new analysis of previous submit information as the new information. So case 2 is a RFR request, reclassification of the CRL amendment from major to minor. So in this case, the B deficiency was classified as major due to the inadequate in vivo B study, and a new B study was requested in the CRL letter. So as a response, the applicant, they submit a CRL amendment with additional information to justify the original B study is still adequate. However, based on our B assessment, these justifications, including the modeling data, are considered as significant new data, new information, which needs substantial assessment, including a potential consultation to other offices. So for this reason, OB determined to uphold the initial decision. So the CRL amendment was still classified major. So the key takeaway from this case is the major classification of amendment should be based on the determination of FDA that the content of the information of data will require extensive assessment. So case 3 is also a RFR request for reclassify the CRL amendment from major to minor. So in this CRL, the applicant was asked to conduct a new B study due to the quality issue. Because the original biobatch was considered not acceptable, that was used the original B study. So the difference from this case from the last case is in the response, the applicants, they actually successfully addressed the quality concern. And also they submit additional supportive information and data, and those part of data will be reviewed by OPQ. However, from B perspective, it is now considered as minor because there's no new B study is needed. So for this reason, so OB agreed to reclassify this CRL amendment from major to minor, and the GDUFA code will be revised accordingly. So the key takeaway from this case is OB may grant RFR major to minor that no substantial information is submitted in the amendment to require extensive assessment by OB. But the acceptability of justification will be reviewed during the scientific assessment of this amendment. So now let's move on to the first challenge questions. So if the B deficiency are issued as major in a DRL letter, so can the applicant submit RFR to request reclassification of this DRL from major to minor? Yes or no? So the answer is no. So the main reason is because the DRL letter is only considered as a advice letter, not a regulatory action taken by FDA. So for this reason, so DRL is not eligible for a RFR request. So the second challenge question, which of the following statement is true? First one, FDA will schedule and conduct TCON and decide 90% of such classification requests within 30 days of the receipt date. One request for reconsideration submit within seven calendar days from the date of the regular action taken by FDA. B, an applicant may request a change in the assessment classification at any time during the assessment cycle. C, the major B deficiency must be listed in the amendment and the submission amendment. D, if eligible requests cannot be resolved through RFR at the divisional level, so if the applicant may pursue a formal dispute resolution above the divisional level. So which one is not true? The answer is C. I think, as I mentioned earlier, so the B deficiencies listed in this guidance is just some examples. That is a non-exhaustive list. So any deficiencies, other deficiencies could be also classified as major, even they are not in that list. So these are my summary and key takeaway. So RFR is a procedure between FDA and the ANDA applicant to resolve scientific and regulatory issues or matters. So based on our experiences, most of RFR received and reviewed by OB are all the reclassification requests from major to minor for either major CRL or major amendment. A non-exhaustive list, so the deficiency list in this ANDA submission guidance is just a non-exhaustive list. And all initial amendment classification and any changes to those classifications will be made as the FDA's discretion. Typically, a CRL classification will advise whether a CRL amendment is major or minor. However, FDA may change its classification based on the content of the amendment reviewed on a case-by-case basis. The last one, FDA will inform the applicant for the detailed reasons if RFR is not acceptable to review or being denied. So last but not least, so I would thank our division and office management for their valuable feedback and support. So this is conclude my section. Now I will get it back to Dr. Brenda. Thank you.